Morning, everybody, here from on board the U.S. Coast Guard cutter Midget here at the Coast Guard base in Seattle. We're honoring our veterans this morning, and of course you can't talk about honoring our veterans without talking about post-traumatic stress. At its core, it is losing control, it is losing everyday, day-to-day functioning becomes more difficult, and it manifests itself in different ways.
You know, we first introduced you to Chris Bowen about a year ago. He is a Gulf War veteran suffering from post-traumatic stress, and he talked about it with us for the very first time last year. Listen.
War is part of life. I get that. That's just the nature of where we live right now. But it is difficult to think that we were part of a machine that caused that much damage.
Chris served in the Gulf War leading a platoon of 43 soldiers across the Saudi desert. They delivered troops and supplies. He spent nearly a year in the war zone, and when he finally came home, he was not the same man.
There are certain times you have to take action that is not consistent with what you do back here. And then all of a sudden you have to go, wait, you know, that piece was me.
So for the past 6 years now, Chris has been committed to weekly counseling every week, never misses a week. And this is how he's managed to live with post-traumatic stress. He joins us now. So good to see you, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Good morning. Good morning.
To tell us how life-changing the last year has been. You spoke about it for the first time last year. So what's the last year been like?
Last year, it's been good. Counseling has been good, but also it stirs up more stuff also. So you're learning to deal with more issues. That some of the issues I've probably forgotten or haven't thought about in a while.
You were surprised at the reaction you got from people who hadn't talked about it also, but then they saw you talk about it.
Right, both people that have PTSD as well as people that didn't know that I had PTSD. And that's one of the things is the shame, but I've had overwhelming support.
Which is so great.
Yeah.
Important to get the message out, right? Why is that important?
Because we're suffering and we need help.
Now, post-traumatic stress for you manifested many years after you returned from the Gulf War, about 17 years. That's not uncommon, is it?
I don't think so. I'm finding out more and more that it is not uncommon, that some people, our minds are able to block things away, and then they come back, and they come back in different ways for different people.
So counseling, obviously, key. For someone who hasn't reached out, been able to do that, what is the first step? Hopefully, I think their first step, I'd wish their first step, their bottom is not too low. But they have to get to a point where what's happening for them then is not working for them. And hopefully it's not as bad as it can be.
What's been the most significant change in your life from talking about it from a year ago? What's been the best? What's been the hardest?
I think the best is that I feel, and I don't know how to explain it, but lighter as I started to talk about it. I feel like it's like things are getting better, but then of course, every time they start to get better, sometimes it gets a little worse.
Right.
But I think it's just I feel lighter, and I don't know how to explain it other than that.
You're so glad you did, aren't you? That you shared with us.
That's a day to day. But yes,
Most
it's
days
yes.
he tells me he is.
Yeah, it's yes, and it's also sometimes it's I wish I could just put it away.
Well,
Chris,
thank you so much for your service
You're
and
welcome.
for sharing. It's made
Thank
a big
you.
difference in the lives of so many.
So brave. Yeah, thanks. I know you're cold here this morning,
Absolutely.
too. So thanks.
Yeah, we want to share some quick numbers for vets who might be suffering from post-traumatic stress. The Seattle Vet Center and the Veterans Crisis Line, both numbers you see on the screen there.
Reach out if you need someone to talk to.